Hello YouTube! In this video I would like to share my thoughts about watering and fertilizing orchids and talk about quality of water we are using for that. Growing orchids for a few years, I always used a tap water, whatever water we have here in Pennsylvania, was feeding my plants using instructions written on boxes with different fertilizers. Was doing it for years, growing my Phalaenopsis cattleya, but when I got a first frag and learned they like super clean water, then I started a research and learned more about what kind of water I'm using. Here on the left there is container with a rain water. I just brought it from the outside, and here on the right there is my tap water. Let's do some experiment and see how clean and pure each water is. I'm going to use TDS meter to see total dissolved solids or particles of salt in each container. I started to use meter since last fall and learned a lot. Let's check TDS in a tap water and see what we have, how much salt is in it, is it soft or not. Yes, I see that TDS shows number 73, so it's not bad. You can water orchids with a water like that with no harm. Now let's check what I have in the rainwater. I know, but I want to show you guys number 2. That's amazing number. No salt, no iron, no calcium, no chlorine, but even if it's in there, it's so little. Now I will add fertilizer in there and see how TDS will change. I just grabbed Miracle Grow. It is a complex fertilizer. It has 18 number for nitrogen, 26 for phosphate, and 16 for potassium, plus microelements. So follow the instruction. I need a small teaspoon to dissolve it in 1 gallon of water, which is 4 liters, or to be precise, it is 3 liters and 780 milliliters. In my container, I have a mark right here, 4 liters. Let's follow the instruction and add a small spoon in each container. Rainwater on the left and tap water on the right. Stir it very well till it's fully dissolved and take a measurement. Rainwater with the suggested amount of fertilizer shows 149, and tap water, it already has TDS 73 number in it, and adding a fertilizer in there should give us that 73 plus another 149, should be about 220 or 30 something. Yes, we have 220s solid particles in a tap water with a fertilizer, which is a lot. We can burn roots watering orchids with that water. I never considered it before, was watering my orchids for years. No wonder I will find burned roots or rotten. Could not figure it out. I knew I do not over water them. Back in October, when I started to use rainwater and use less fertilizer, I planted this Renanter. Oh, I can't even take a tag out. Probably it got attached to roots. Okay, whatever. I planted it in October, and all those bright light green roots, they grew since last October. This one is the old root, and this one is the old root. Those new fresh roots you can see, they grew in the last 3 months. No rotten, burnt roots anymore. I learned it in a hard way. Now I do not read instruction. I just add fertilizer in the rainwater. Make sure ppm is 80 or 100 the most, and this way you exactly know what you are feeding your orchid with. Just using logic and Mother Nature. How orchids get fertilized? How do they get food? Okay, there is a bird left something flying above the trees. Then tropical rain came and dissolved that bird's fertilizer. It won't be ppm 220 something. It's impossible to have the ppm like that. There should be 100 birds providing that organic fertilizer for that orchid and burn not just a poor orchid but the entire tree. Also important to know what pH do you have in the water you use to water your orchids. That kit I bought in pet store. People use it for their aquariums. Also I had a digital pH meter, but batteries got broken, so I kind of like used to use this one. Again, 2 containers on the left, rainwater. I will check pH. I don't have to do it all the time, but it's kind of like easy. There is a mark 5 ml, then you add a pH test solution, put 3 drops in it. And again, I don't do it all the time. I know what pH in my rainwater is. Let's check it again, shake it well, and compare to a chart. Here we can see yellow matches number 6.0, which is slightly acidic. And we all know from school the neutral pH is 7. Now the same thing I will do with my tap water. Remember, tap water had TDS 73, so it means there is calcium carbonate, maybe iron, and some chlorine, and the color is different. That turquoise color matches the number 7.6. So it's okay to water, I think, but if we want to grow orchids the closest way like they grow in Mother Nature, we should lower the pH down to 6 or 5.8. Especially we know that absorption of macro elements works better with pH 6 or lower than that. So better to bring pH down when feeding your plants. I can use lime juice, I can use lemon juice, and actually that kit has a bottle with solution to bring pH down using a dropper. I checked pH once, I don't do it all the time, but when using different fertilizers, they always change the pH of the initial water, so it doesn't hurt to check after you add fertilizer in. One more thing I'd like to share with you. I'm using clay pots for a long time, and I used to believe about clay being a very porous material. When it gets dry, it will pull moisture out of the tips of the roots when they reach the edges and started to attach to a clay pot, and I always thought that's why. But I was over-fertilizing, overdosing my orchids with salt. It took me some time to figure it out. This cattleya is growing in this pot since October 30th, 2017. So again, 3 months or a little bit more, all those green fresh roots, they are growing on the lava rocks attaching to the pot, and there is no burn. So the conclusion is clay does not pull moisture out of the roots. The damage we get because of the salt collecting in pores from hard water or over-fertilizing. My problem was resolved with using rainwater fertilizing with ppm 80. It is very weak, and I do fertilize weekly. 1 week I feed them, and next watering I will just use water to flush the salts out. But notice there is not too much salt build up, but orchids are growing so much better. I can feed my Rhinanthera in this water easily. ppm 124 is not going to burn roots, but I still think it is a little bit too high for my orchids. And after feeding her, I will still rinse off roots and media with pure water. So the conclusion of my video is use clean water, rainwater, or reverse osmosis water when you feed orchids, because adding fertilizer in the tap water, that's crazy. For me, it works better when I feed them weekly, but weekly, to keep pH level 5.8 or 6, which is exactly like it works in Mother Nature with the rainwater, and gives better absorption of nutrients and microelements. There is great channels on YouTube I learned a lot from: Rick L from Alabama, and Ed from Ed's Orchid, and Robert from England. They all help me to realize I have to know my water and can do so much better to enjoy my hobby. Thank you guys for watching, and happy growing everybody. Until next time, bye bye.